One day, the professor asked his students to prepare for an exam. The students were surprised and anxious because they did not expect to have an exam that day. Then the professor handed over the papers with the text facing down the table, so they didn't see it. Then after giving all the students those papers, the professor said to take the exam. To everyone's surprise, when they flipped the paper, they didn't see anything aside from the one small black dot. It's just appeared on it. Then the professor asked them to describe, what do you see? So the students were confused, but they started the exam. At the end of the exam, the professor collected all the papers and asked the students to read their answers in front of the class. So all of the students without exemptions, they all described the small black dot on that paper. The position of the dot, they describe it, the size of the dot, the location of the dot, how perfect the dot on the paper is. Then after all the students were done describing, the professor said, I'm not going to grade you on that exam, but I want to share something about life. You know, all of you describes the dot, but none of you describes the white paper. The same thing happens to our life, you know. We tend to focus most of the time on the dark spots of our lives. You know, those disappointments, those failures, those heartaches, those inability that you can do this. Not noticing that there is actually a big, wide, white paper in your life. You know, we sometimes take for granted the air that we breathe, the healthy eyes that we have, that we can see the bright blue skies. We take for granted that we have ears and limbs, that we can walk, we can hear the sounds of the birds, sound of the nature. Sometimes we take for granted our loved ones, our friends, our relationships that we have because we are so much focused on those small part of our life, those, looking for money, looking for success, looking for, those things in this world that sometimes we don't notice na there is actually bigger than this, no? That we sometimes hindi na natin nakikita yung magagandang bagay na naranasan natin. The relationship that you have with your friends. Your relationship with your son, with your daughter, wala ka na palang time, no? But those are actually the most precious that we should be looking for more than anything in this world. And you just have to start looking on the brighter side on it. And I believe you will become more happy and you will become more joyful in your life.